Good afternoon. I found a beautiful place to tell you a story. I'm going to tell a story about from when I was in Australia. It was back in 1988. I was in my early 20s. I was hitchhiking my way around the country. I brought a bottle of hot cocoa so I can keep warm, because it for sure is not warm. But this story actually starts in the center of Australia, just on the outskirts of Alice Springs. I woke up early morning that morning. I had been staying at a guest house, hostel, and I woke up early. I paid my bill already the night before, so I could walk out just like that. Early morning, no one else was up. So I headed out of town. Back in those days, it was easy to hitchhike in Australia. It really was. So I just went to outskirts of town, and so I just stood there, put my backpack down so that my Danish flag was visible for the drivers who came from Alice Springs, heading out of town. And I waited a while and no cars came. I guess I was there too early, but well, it's okay. It was a nice morning. After a while, a good while, it was like an hour or so, I see in the distance it was an old Holden station car, and it was not very nice looking. And when they get closer to me, I can see that it looked like it was full of people. And I was thinking, why are they starting to pull over? Because there's no room. There's already 5 people in the car and a dog. But they pulled over and asked me if I wanted a lift. And, well, I had been waiting for an hour, and I figured, well, yeah, I can get a lift. And they asked me where I was heading, and I just said I'm going north. My plan was to go to Darwin, but that is a long way from Alice Springs to Darwin. So I figured, they will give me a lift part of the way, and it's okay. So in the car, the driver was a young guy in his late 20s. On the passenger seat in front was a teenage boy. In the back seat was a young guy. Well, young, yeah, he was like early 30s in one side. On the left side of the back seat, this young 30-year-old guy. And in the middle of the back seat was a 14-15-year-old boy also. And in the other side, on the right side of the back seat, was a lady. She was probably in her mid-30s, and she was rather big. Nothing bad about that, but she did take up quite a bit of the back seat. Luckily, the young guy in the other side of the back seat, on the left side, he was very skinny, so that kind of equaled out. But I was still wondering where they wanted to put me, because, well, in the back of the car they had all their stuff plus a dog. And the first thought that came to mind was a rolling gypsy camp. But the young boy who was in the middle of the back seat, they put a pillow between the 2 front seats, actually on top of the handbrake, on top of the parking brake, and then they told him to sit there. And he just did what they told him, so he moved to sit there, and I got to sit in the middle of the back seat. So, what made this group of people very special, very interesting was their personalities. The skinny guy on the back seat, on the left side, he very rarely spoke, but he coughed very bad every now and again, like he was about to spit out his lungs. Then the driver, he very often got these sneezing attacks, where he would sneeze like 5 to 10 times. When he started to sneeze, sorry my expression, but Big Mama on the back seat started to laugh. She found it very amusing that he was sneezing. And her size being part of it, when she laughed, the whole car went like this. And then the dog started barking. Then when the driver finally got his act together and stopped sneezing, he would grab something on the floor and throw it at the dog. You know, just like that, through the car. So that means the person in the middle should time it, so duck, because else you would get hit by, well, whatever came flying. I found out. The young boy on the passenger seat in front, as I say, he was 14, 15 years old. He was constantly nagging the driver because he wanted to drive the car, this young boy. And obviously the driver of the car, he would reject. He would say, no way, you're not going to drive the car. You were too young and you don't know how to drive. And the only times he didn't go on about driving the car was when there was a truck or a road train nearby, because then he would go on with the CB radio, calling the truck driver on the CB radio. He tried every time we saw a truck, and no truck driver ever answered him. Then he figured it must be because the antenna is wrong. So the antenna, it looked like they had taken a screwdriver. The antenna was mounted in the middle of the roof of the car. And I think they had taken a screwdriver, placed it on top of the roof and whacked it with a hammer. That's the way they made the hole for the antenna. Well, unluckily, there was one of the, I don't know what you call it, but part of the strong construction of the roof was right there. So it was halfway destroyed from the making that hole. So every time he had tried to call a truck driver and no one answered, he would be like trying to fix the wires, because obviously they were just put on like that. When he didn't succeed, the driver would try while driving. So he would be telling the boy to steer the car, not the one in the middle, but the one on the passenger seat, to steer the car while he go like this, trying to fix the antenna, while driving 100 kilometers an hour on the highway. That was a little bit nerve-wracking, but the thing is, anywhere else in the world, I would have said to them, okay, please pull over, let me get out. This is not, please drop me off. But we already moved quite a bit and get dropped off. I guess you have areas in America as well, like that. It's just nothing there. It's desert, and it's no water, no nothing, and it would be dangerous to be dropped off in a place like that. So I just had to, well, stick with it. So I did, and after a while, I was trying to figure out if they were family or what, but it seemed like that these people, Big Mama who was laughing so the whole car was jumping up and down, the driver who was sneezing so the dog would bark, the coughing skinny guy, the young boy between the front seats who didn't speak, and the other teenage boy who spoke constantly. It seemed like they were not family. As far as I could see, the driver was the owner of the car. And as I think, he left home in the car looking for work. And then it seems like he just picked up everybody else in the car because they were, well, there were things they didn't know about each other, so it was not like they were friends or anything. It was just like a get-together of strangers in this car. Well, somehow I enjoyed the ride because it was so different, it was so strange, you know, coughing, sneezing, laughing, barking, nagging. It was just, and you know, this was first time I was far away from home. I had been traveling in Europe, but I had never been that far away. I never been to Australia before, and it was like, wow, this is just so crazy. So I kind of stuck with it. And every now and again we would stop at a roadhouse, they would put gas, they would buy some food, some drink. And the thing is, in those days in Australia, when people picked up a hitchhiker, then it was like you were invited to their home. So when they stop at a roadhouse, they would buy drink, they would buy food for everybody in the car, including me. And they didn't expect anyone the other way. They didn't expect anything the other way. It was just, well, tradition, I guess. So I enjoyed the ride. And it took most of the day. And this whole charade, coughing, sneezing, laughing, nagging, the whole day. And it was actually fun. I found it entertaining. And then at the same time I found it scary, obviously, because fiddling with the radio while a boy is steering, and it was just wow. But anyway, in the evening, early evening, we got close to a place called Three Ways. And just before Three Ways there's a small town. And I had looked at my map and I seen that there was a campground in that town, so I figured I'd go stay at the campground for the night. And that was a good excuse to get out of the car and kind of get away from this rolling gypsy camp. So I told them that I would get off in that town, and they were like, okay, we need to stop in that town too because we need to figure out what to do. We don't have any more money for gas. I was like, gosh, okay. But anyway, I got out of the car and I thanked them for the ride, and it was very nice. They had given me, as far as I remember, it's like 1,000 kilometers, very far. So I appreciated it a lot. It was nice, you know. And I walked to the campground and pitched my tent, and it was all good. Found a place where I could get something to eat for the night, for dinner, and it was all good. Relaxed the rest of the evening, and just kicked back and relaxed and enjoyed myself. Wrote a bit in my book. I had a journal with me, and then I think it was like 10 o'clock, I went to bed and slept, had a very good night's sleep. And obviously, as always, woke up early in the morning. Had a bit breakfast and a shower at the campground. There was showers, so I could have a shower, and I was fresh and in good mood, you know. I needed to go to the road and start hitchhiking again. I was enjoying myself. So I went out, stood next to the road, put my backpack down and my thumb out, and I see a car coming, and I think, oh, that's great. Even this early, there's still traffic. And when the car came close, I saw it was the car from the day before. It was the old Holden, the rolling gypsy camp. And I was like, oh no. But it was too late. They already seen me and I couldn't really, you know. So they pulled over and they were like, hi, you want to come with us again? And we're not going very far north. We know you're going north. I was going to Darwin. And at freeways, it was like 30 kilometers further ahead, they would turn and go to the coast, to the east coast. And I wanted to continue on north to Darwin. So I figured, that's okay, it's only 30 kilometers, no problem. So I got back in the car and the same charade as the night before, or the day before. And then after a little while I got to think about it. They told me they didn't have money for gas. Wonder how they, because I could see the meter on the dashboard it say they had a full tank of gas. So I asked them, so how did you get money for gas? And the driver, he turned around and we just sold our spare tires. They had 2 spare tires. So they sold their spare tires. And I was like thinking, gosh. At freeways, they were going towards the coast. That is a very, very deserted highway. At that time, there were warnings on the map saying that you wouldn't want to have a breakdown in that area because it was very deserted. It could be dangerous. And they sold their spare tires. So they were just, gosh. I was thinking, whoa. Brilliant that I decided to go north so I can get out at freeways, because driving in this car on that highway with no spare tire, that's not only stupid, that's dangerous. But anyway, I got my lift. I got dropped off at freeways and they drove off. And actually before they drove off, all of them got out of the car and gave me a hug and told me thank you for being part of our group, and they were very friendly, and obviously I said thank you for the lift. It was, you know, from Alice Springs to freeways, it's a long way and it helped me a lot, but still it was just, I never met people like that. It was incredible. But I guess they were nomads. They were just making their way around the country looking for jobs. And I think I understand them, kind of understand them now. But back then, I was a young guy, I didn't know anything about nomadic life, and I was like, what? What kind of group of people is this? But it was just amazing. And this journey from Alice Springs to freeways, I'll never forget it. It was incredible. These people just made a deep impression on me. And I guess they were kind of the first nomads I ever met. Well, let me take another cup of cocoa. But yeah, strange people. And as I say, nomads. Now I'm a nomad myself. I'm sure the hitchhikers I picked up on my way home from Jylland, they probably thought that I was strange. Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, a small story. I hope you liked the story. I will make more of these, and experiences like this, memories like these, that is what makes life good. I guess we are all living for memories. We are all making memories, enjoying life. Can you enjoy life? Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.